Are we ready? I know I am. So, whether or not you are, it's time for another episode of the Indie Tales Game Dev live stream. Hey, my name is Adam. You're the Pixel Pals. I've already said the name of the show, so without further ado, it's time to go. Welcome, everyone, to the Friday edition of the stream. Today, we will be working on some Insignia Chapter 2 content. I'm pretty excited to get into it, and I don't have too much to say in the intro here, so I want to say a big welcome to everybody who's here in chat on both Twitch and YouTube. Anyone lurking as well, welcome. Big thanks, of course, to most recent follower, Ostgals, and most recent subscriber, Remelem. Thank you so much. Alrighty. So, yeah, where I'm at right now is I'm doing like a story pass on Chapter 2. I found myself this week getting quite frustrated at the fact that I seem to be in a bit of a loop where there's like production maintenance stuff that I have to do. And when I do that stuff, it can eat up my whole week. So I never make any forward progress on the game. I'm always just like upkeeping the team's forward progress, but not making any forward progress of my own. And at a certain point, there's like a bottlenecking that happens where they're all waiting for me and I haven't done anything to give them new stuff to do. So we have a couple things. I guess I wanted to do like a forward vision on the project, just so that I know I'm working towards something right. And this mindset needs to be a bit of a shift. How big is the team? There's 5 of us at the moment, and I'm hoping to scale that up very soon. So the way that this works is, I've been working, when you work on like a demo, there's a lot of like polishing that's happening. So you're not adding content, you're just fixing bugs, refining stuff, making sure that everything works. And that's quite like a reactive way to do work. But this kind of work, this creative side, is more proactive. It's more about like new ideas. So getting out of one context and into the other is hard for me, but I've got to shift towards it. And I think having a workspace that lets me do that is important here. And I realized that like in all of my documents, I don't have any like way of overseeing the empty space ahead of me and filling it. So I don't really know what that looks like yet. I do have like a story map document with outlines and things that I'm working on here. There's something not quite right about this. And I mean, another way to look at it would just be like, hey, play the game, update the game as you go, just put stuff in. I don't know if that's the most efficient way, but I've been kind of playtesting the game today, at least chapter 1. So, I mean, chapter 2. The first part of it. So let's maybe we can do that as well. I'm happy to just run through that with you and start thinking about how we can shape this thing up. And there's something really important here as I do this, which is that it's not about finding things that are wrong. It's about finding the places of most value that you can do next that won't be made redundant by some other thing. So like here, for example, I know that we could move the camera forward to look across the empty space that we're moving into. I know that would make this cutscene better, but this cutscene is not stopping me from finishing chapter 2. So I have to leave it unfinished. The music's great, the mood is great. It's all fine. Again, here, there's no gameplay, but the fact that there's no gameplay here is not stopping me from completing chapter 2, as in getting to the chapter 3, basically. So I need to be able to get to chapter 3 as soon as possible. And in fact, the game's credits Like, that's the goal, is how do I get to the game's credits? The final credits. I've never done that before. So that's what we're kind of focusing on today, is thinking about how we build that workflow and get to that point. So far this is all, you know, certainly prototypey, but it works. There would be different music here. Hey, Tony Chopper. How's it going? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So this is mostly right. There's an area here that you can't. Maybe I'll make it so that you can't open this to force you to go right and then come left. At this point, of course, you will have unlocked everything from chapter 1. So we have this hedgehog we can take, and then whoop. Here we will learn this ability here, which is fine, and then now we can steal it from these guys. Then we've got a level here that will be mostly for later. Binge watch One Piece Season 2. Okay, got some tough enemies, and we're going to skip past them. Then we come back here, and oh, now we're on the other side of the thing we couldn't do before. We get to chapter 2, to Shebaton, the second city. Blah, blah, blah. That works. Now, I don't have a way into the city right now. So I might need to figure something out. There was previously a way here that I added. So that's major. That's game breaking. So we're gonna sneak through here. Let's have a look. There was no way. Oh, I've got something here, but no easy way to get there. I need basically a door that goes from here to down there. I don't have anything here that allows me to do any of that. So this would be called Load Shebaton. I can do that. We made it. Do I try to exploit it? I don't, but people do. This is nothing right now, but it will be something. Maybe there'll be like a blacksmith is like not in or something like that. Like he's away. He's out of home. These doors are all wired up incorrectly, but that's fine. Sweet. Hey, Booyah. How's it going? The de-erase is still a thing, of course. So now I don't know what happens here. For now, I guess I'd let you go. Yeah, this is probably going to go. Old content. I do want you to see the garden. The colorful levels on the right of the map. I've got a save file right now where you've unlocked all of the abilities, and that is where you get abilities from chapter 3. Hypothetically. Hey, Abdulaziz. Oh, what's he doing here? You're not supposed to be here. Hey, Uthox. I'm doing okay. This probably shouldn't be here. At least certainly not at this part of the game. Yeah, this dialogue needs to change. We need a way to get to Anton's shop. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, okay. All right. It's actually crazy because there's so much dialogue in this chapter already. It's technically like, it's on the way to playable. It's just like missing so much environment design and player routing. That's really what it is. But it's written. So like in this instance, yeah, I mean, I guess it's fine. I would just need to put him in here. I think I do want this to be optional though. So it's going to have to be something like, maybe like a menu that you pick up at Ned's workshop. All right. So first of all, let's get this anvil out of the way. Hey, Barge. How's it going? Well, it's sort of like I've already written this years ago and the content's already like, it's been written and it's been put in the scenes, but the scenes themselves are not arranged the way that they ought to be. And it's just not like quite set up correctly. Also like the content itself, like the items that you get, the accessories you create, the enemies you fight, that has all been in flux. So like this, I added like literally a week ago. And I think previously, like there was so much tinkering with the flow of the levels that I wasn't really in a position where I could, like I had to teach the player at every 10 steps, there was something new to teach the player. Now I can sort of just go, well, here's the level, here are the puzzles, here are the things you can and can't do. It's more the story and the player progress that blocks their ability to like get to certain places. I don't have to sort of explain so much. And so now the story is not, it's not shackled by tutorials, which makes it a lot lighter, but also a lot more responsibility on me to keep track of the pacing for the story's own sake, It's not, I can't just think about, oh, how do I teach the player ABC? It's more like, okay, well, what does the player need right now? How are they going to do A or B or C? So, okay, what I'd love to do is, I'd love to revise the town's look, certainly, because I think it's still not quite there yet. But again, that could be quite circular. We could find ourselves doing that for ages. If it's just about, there's a certain thing that I want to avoid, which is like with all of these cutscenes, the bones of the cutscenes are already there and they're not pretty, but they shouldn't have to be pretty right now. And the challenge here is that I want, in a lot of areas, the nearest, most noticeable thing is that it's not pretty, or that it's not graceful, or it's not like, it's not tight. But that's actually not the thing I need to care about. The thing I need to care about is, can you get through the game? Can you get through it? And I mean, I gotta try that. So, Fate Solstice complete. Guilty. Okay. Then there's this Armin forges a sword. Do you write dialogue directly in Unity, or do you write it outside? I write it outside and I import it into Unity. So I write it, just literally like this in conversations, and then I can just copy and paste this format where I have like, name, colon, content, new line, name, colon, content. And that can be imported through my dialogue system to look like this. And then I change the faces if I want later. Hey, Pixel, thank you so much for the sub. And this is a scriptable object, so I can do, like, these all have their own IDs, so I could replace them with translated versions later. So, I think I want to be able to maybe think about like the flow of the chapter a little more clearly. And I do have like a map where I kind of have this already set up. So, yeah. So basically, the chapter, all of the middle quest content is here and not explained by this or this. So I think if we go to chapter 2, maybe I'll put some music on for you guys. I think I just want to like plot out the beats a little bit. So it's like, howdy. And actually, this would be like much easier done in FigJam. I thought I already did this. If I type jam, not JSM, can I get all the Fig Jam projects? What if I say like chapter 2? No. Interesting. What about just like all of my content? Chapter 2 world layout. That sounds reasonable. I have used Obsidian, though text editor is a pretty lightweight way to describe what it is. Yeah, it is expensive. I don't have an alternative that I like that's free. Oh, Penpot. You can use Penpot. Yes, that is a free alternative. It's just not quite as... Actually, I mean, it might be better today. The performance wasn't as good. Oh, they're still working on it. Is there a demo? I can't remember how to do it. One sec. All right. So we can create a frame. That's good. We can put some text in it. Very good. Can we auto Yes, we can. And we can do that. Perfect. Can I say that I want these to be down? Yep, very good. So far, so good. Can I drag this? Nope. But I can say 10. Yep, that's good. Or 50. Can I make this hug? I don't think I can easily make the board hug. Flex board, fit content. Oh, here we go. Fit. Perfect. So I could copy paste this. Should I not be able to do that? Copy, paste. Nice. And the board resizes. So far, so good. That's a lot of what Figma does. Can I round these edges? Here, 10. Yep, pretty good. Can I change the fill? Yep. Can I make it 20% here? Yep. I mean, so far, that's pretty much what Figma does. Can I make this a component? Yep. Can I make a variant? Yep. Can I change the text in the component? Yep. Can I create a picture? I don't know. Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts. Copy that image. Can I just paste it however I like? Yep. Can I drop this? Can I drop this in here? No. Can I drop it in here? And it will drop there? Yep, that's fine. Okay. What happens if I have 4 of these and I group them? I don't think they can do... Oh, they can do grids. With wraparound. Great. It's pretty good. That's pretty far along, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, it's not as performant as Figma, but it's certainly not like bad. Put a drop shadow on this thing. Yep. I can blur it. Yep. Export. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you want open source Figma, here it is. Pen pot. Oh, it's got plugins too. Wow. How does this work? Oh, okay, it's literally just a Pomodoro timer that sits on top of the thing. Fine. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I could probably do... I wonder if I can copy from Figma into... PenPot. How good is it at doing that? That would be a pretty killer feature. No. You would think that they would try to support that, just to help people get there easier. But I could definitely have created that for sure. And I could do that. Yeah, that's all great. That's how I use it. So if I wanted to do my to-dos, this is how I do it, right? I go, here's some text, task. I have a container. And I have a container for that. So I make another board. I go like this. This has a fill that is like 20%, and its job is to... Oh, is there no fill parent? Like, what is this? Align row? No. Oh, no. That's a big feature that's missing then. Is there really no way to fill to parent? Wait, maybe there is now. Ah, yeah, there it is. With the 100%. Perfect. So now I can make this go down, and I can make a bunch of tasks. I can make this black if I want, and I can make it that the text is white. And, you know, I can give these a bit of margins. Make them rounded. I can even make a component out of this. Delete these. Put that in there. Bunch of tasks. My little urgency circle. This needs to ignore layout. I don't know how to do that here, but I would just put it somehow over there. There should be a absolute left. Yeah, so I should just be able to put it there. And then, yeah. Now as I drag this wider, all of these should... Ah, that is a problem. It looks like components can't... with 100%. Yep. Sweet. Why not Trello? Because Trello doesn't do any of this stuff. Trello's just a Kanban board. Cool. So yeah, I could definitely do most of what I do in Penpot. Maybe I will one day. And I would just host it on my own server. Damn, I really could do that. Someone says something like lunacy. It looks like it's also Figma. But I think it feels like they're trying to do more Canva stuff. I mean, look, everyone's trying to be what Sketch was. It started with Sketch. Now everyone wants to be Sketch. It was Sketch. It was Adobe XD. It was Figma. It's Penpot. It's Lunacy. It's all the same thing. Ultimately, what this is really doing is basically HTML with Flex. That's what this whole thing is. It's just an editor that lets you make Flex-based HTML stuff. And so all of the features are just HTML features. They're just CSS stuff. Like there's nothing about any of this that you couldn't write in a CSS, an HTML document. Which is why they're all web-based editors. You know. So, yeah, I mean, definitely we could move. I could save myself about $300 a month if I hosted this myself. Maybe I will. What it doesn't do is, well, it does this kind of stuff, but it doesn't do collaboration as far as I know. Well, with my team, I mean, I've got like 7 or 8 people who work with me in my Figma documents, and they each have a seat, and those seats cost like $30 a month. So, and it all adds up. I don't know if it's 300 a month, but it's like, it's at least 150. I could check. Let's take a look. How much am I actually paying? I am paying $75 a month. Okay, way less than I thought I was. And not that much. There's an annual seat that I pay though, and then there's monthly seats. So actually there's 2 kinds of bills, I'm pretty sure. I think I pay like, it's something like $300 a year and then $75 a month, something like that. I'm fairly certain it's not just $75 a month. Let me have a look. What are the invoices? I'll see. I'll let you know. 80, 80, 80, 80, and then 190 a year. So there's an annual plan plus 80 a month. And I'm pretty sure that's USD. So it's like more like 120 a month. Yeah. I'm right. Like I said, plus 192 a year for me for the annual plan. So what's 192 plus 80 times 12? I'm paying $1,200 a year. Yeah, that's what I'm paying. I mean, to be honest, Figma is pretty good. I use it a lot. I could transition everything over. It's totally possible. And everything being cloud-based does save me a lot of energy. There are some things I wonder if we could do them in Penpot, like for example, FigJam. We currently do we have like reviews of music that we're pasting in with video. I wonder if Penpot can do any of that stuff. So if I take like a YouTube video, take this one. Hey pals, welcome back to a new video. Last time I taught you the very basics. Okay, so Penpot doesn't do that. And then if I go a Discord channel, no. Okay, if I take this, I could definitely drop that in that, but can I drop it in this? No. Okay, so you can't do video review here. We would need to host our videos somewhere else. Okay. Anyway, I like it. I mean, like I could definitely, if I was like starting out, maybe I would use this as like a solo dev, but I still think Figma is probably better right now for me and worth the money, in my opinion. Like the stuff that we do here is, it's actually very useful that this is so performant. It's so performant. We can look at the whole project's music for this chapter, all of the discussion in one view. We can look at every revision we've done of every single track in one view. We can leave comments, we can collaborate. That's worth something. Alrighty, so we are, what are we doing? We're doing, how was the podcast with Thomas Brush? I didn't have a podcast with Thomas Brush. I had a podcast with Primogen. It was good. Alrighty, so what was I doing? I was doing this chapter 2 world layout. So owner has a show written, turned away by gate, keeper, and then I do this. And then I do this, and I say, I wonder if I still want to do this. Let in by children. Oh, that one. We've done 2 since then. I mean, we've done 2 in total, 1 since then. How was the podcast? What's your, I mean, what's the, what kind of, when you say how was it, what are you asking specifically? I guess I'll just let them be the dark color, whatever. I think he wanted me to do a Kickstarter. Yeah, I mean, it was what you saw, I suppose. I find that I suppose there's like there's kind of like two reasons to do a podcast, right? One is like promotion and the other one is conversation. And I think I prefer podcasts that are more about conversation than promotion. I don't really like promoting myself very much. And I think sometimes there's a little bit of discomfort that I have when I'm engaging with other creators whose business is more focused on content creation. I mean, mine is for sure, but like it's sort of, we have sort of different goals, I guess, sometimes, or it can happen in like a sort of podcast scenario where like you're collaborating. There are things that you can do to help each other out, or business opportunities in the conversation, in how you conduct the conversation and kind of what topics come up. And I think I just prefer talking about game design than about game business. I think that's my personal preference. So for me, I'm not trying, like if I was to have a podcast, we would just talk about mechanics and stuff. I wouldn't really want to spend much time talking about like how to get more wish lists or anything like that, because I don't think it's, unless someone's asking me specifically, like I don't have the answers, and I think they're very hard to have answers. And it's not to say that I disagree with like how he conducts his business or anything like that. Like I think he's probably doing it right. I would definitely be in a very different creative position today if I was more business focused. And to an extent, I really envy people who are able to like make it work and do what they want to do creatively. Okay. Alrighty. There's also the Chevalier. And then okay. And then we have oh yeah. And these are the okay. Cool. And then we have the fate, and then we have the dungeon, and then we have end of chapter 2. But there's more obviously in between here. So dungeon, mini boss, boss fight, run in with Tiberius. Then we have Lena and Ilya, Marion. Rekka and Kerr. Boss fight. Okay. Scouting party dungeon, mini boss, meet the hero and recommend boss fight, running with Tiberius, escape with Ilya. So that's pretty much chapter 2. This is at least the second part after we reach the Ridgelands. And I would say all of this is the dungeon. Oh, that looks terrible. What happened there? Okay. Can I put that in a box? Probably not easily. Maybe just color it then. Okay. So what I need to do is start thinking about this stuff in a production sense. And I'd love if I could copy these and bring them into like some sort of space where I could say, okay, what is the status of this? Is it text exists, outline exists? Is there environment art? Are there animations? I'd love to do that. This is the epilogue. There's really no like easy way to do what I would want to do with a feature like this, which is like this diagram. I would love to program indicators on this. I'd love to program like a link to a document and then have that document effectively have a value behind it that I could set to like, you know, draft, in progress, work, you know, polish, done, and then have that appear here from based on what I'm doing in the document. And the document could have also like sub-documents. I know that Obsidian, it sounds like that's sort of what Obsidian does, but I just want some sort of like, I want to use like code to do it. I want to like define definitions, you know? Anyway, otherwise you got to do everything manually. There's no by reference connections between this and then like wherever I do the work. Okay, so part 1, the Ridgelands. Okay, so Armin leaves the Athenium. You would think so, but there's really not. I've looked. Meets the watchman at Ridgelands, turned away. The gap's been there for a long time. Turned away by the watchman at the Ridgelands, falls asleep in chapel. Oh, dream sequence. It's actually quite longer. And then, nope. And then from the dream sequence, we awoken by voices in the night. And then we have, come on, mate. Escape sequence into Sugarwood. And then zone gameplay. Okay. And then it's eventually going to have to learn first ability. And then eventually you arrive at Cheverton. Okay. So I would say from this point, I would cluster those. And that too. I would say this goes to here, and then we get to here. This is part of that. This is part of that. Okay. So this here, we should introduce the Hithen characters. So this is essentially my checklist for chapter 2. If I can do all of this in a playthrough, then I have a finishable draft chapter. So let's see. I'll color these based on how, I guess, far along they are. So it's like concepted or like designed, drafted, testable, polishing, finished. And I probably should put these in reverse order. So designed is just that black color. Started an engine. Playable is red. Testable is yellow. Polishing is green. Finished is blue. So not so light though. So pretty much, I think pretty much everything here is this gray. I mean, that's red. Let's get all the red ones. So everything that you can physically do in the game right now. You can physically do that. You can physically do that. You can physically do that. You can physically do this. No, sort of. Not really. You can... that. This is all technically sort of in the game. That's leaving a lot of gray that needs to be turned to red. There's probably another version here which is like broken. Well, it's not completed. It's like the first possible thing that could be tested at all. It's like the lowest possible version. So this is not hooked up. What? And anything that's half true, I have to split into multiple boxes. This technically is further along than that. That's testable. This probably also is testable. None of this is hooked up, but it all kind of exists. This and this is sort of, it does exist, it's just not hooked up. This is playable by me. This is not playable by me. Oh boy. There's probably also a question here to be asked of like, what is the point that my team needs this to be at in order for us to sign off on chapter 2, like their work? Like, I know that currently this is holding Morgan back, her music. She can't do the music unless I can prototype the boss fight. So there's like, all of this is actually like a lot of work. Like that's a ton. I could spend 2 weeks on this stuff. All right. Can you do this? I think this is actually playable in the game, not just by me. All right. Guess I gotta get to it then, huh? Let's start by making all the doors right. Oh, thank you so much. This, I need a bit of, there's a bit of work needs to be done there, but I'll pop it here just because I need it somewhere. Excuse me. Yep. Thank you. This is scene graph. We're trying to make it a product that people can actually like use and buy, but it's going to take a little time to get to that point. All right. Excuse me, what? Thank you. And there was some weirdness on this scene too. Better. But then what the hell's that? How does that not go where it's supposed to go? Why do we end up there? That's not good. Oh, okay, it does work. All right. So I did want to make this a bit different. Maybe have the whole city down lower. That would actually make a lot more sense. Like that. Or even this with this above. I don't like this at all. I'm going to change that. And then I think this scene needs to be extended. I would like to, I really would love to readdress like the whole, like the architecture, the color scheme, the framing of this level, this level, this level, this level, all together as one, and this one as one, like just a different way of thinking about how to lay it out. It's kind of late. Late in the piece to be doing this again. I've done this many times already. This was the concept originally. And, well, not the original concept. There was one before this one. But this was the one that I was most comfortable with. I quite like this. There's a few different, I guess, aspects of it where I'm trying to like tunnel the player down into like into having it feel cramped and like a city, and then opening it out to make it feel you know, high and sort of like the sky should feel big, but where we are should feel small. So framing the player's perspective it's really tough to do in a 2D game, but I think I can do it now better than I ever could. It's just that, yeah, there are some really tough design choices to make with the layout. Even this at one point was a level that I designed separately to what it looks like now. Check this out. Like this was a version which is different to this version, which is different to there was one point where I just did a bunch of buildings one after the other. Yeah. I don't know why I got rid of this. I quite like it. I don't know what was wrong about this. It's more just that I realized like I wasn't getting what I was wanting out of it. Maybe I could just like kit bash it all together, like back together again, and then have something that actually meets my vision. Part of it is logistical. It's like you need to have certain things. Yeah, right? Isn't this so cool? Like, yeah, you need to have certain architectural aspects in the levels. And you need like the camera to be at certain heights in different parts of the level. One of the things that I didn't like about this one was that if the player is at eye level, right? If the player's standing here and I have like a crowd of NPCs in this scene, all of the NPCs live here and they block the eye line of like to the player. Maybe that's not so bad, but it meant that I couldn't populate the scene with meaningful NPCs. Whereas this version, because the camera is higher up, looking down a little bit more, I can have all these NPCs here and I can layer them back, so that the player's head, notice how the player's head here doesn't even touch the bottom of the fountain or the statue at this point. So there are things about this of like, some of it's even an aspect of like depth, you know, like not depth, like the camera angle, the lens angle. Like here, the lens angle is quite narrow, and here the lens angle is quite wide in this version. Like you can see a lot of the side walls of the buildings from here. So I could have characters up here and I can have, it's more of a theater. Whereas the other one feels more like a smaller square. I think both of them still feels a little bit, both of them feel a little bit, like I might pull the camera out even further on this one. If we make this 2.7, you know, maybe it has to be like this. You know, maybe I bring the player down and I bring the characters up and I bring everything, I scale everything else up, you know? I do think that it helps to have the character sort of close to the screen though. It's really tough, this thing. It's really tough because you want to fill the frame and you want the composition to have the right elements in it. I think I probably need to go further still on this one. And I might even, what I might try to do is have a couple of layers of this scene, or a way that you can look up and have the camera look up. I mean, you can kind of do that, but not very easily, not very much. Like all of these details are great. There's even like an aspect of, I want you to be able to go down this alley. How do I do that? You know, I want you to be able to go into certain areas of the level. And without there being clearer lines, like where Armin can stand over something. Like here, maybe if you could stand here, I could do like a dotted line. You're gonna go down that road. That could probably be done. But it also starts to feel very quickly quite crowded. Like the interaction layer of this level is there's a door here, there's a door like here, and then like you only have, in order to express player choice, you only have one dimension, the x-axis. So I can't like, if this was a point and click adventure, I could click over here, I could click over here, but you can't do that in this context. Maybe it would be a target thing. You know, maybe. parallax scrolling with the background houses all the way back here? Well, the camera doesn't move with you, but they do parallax. I don't know if you can notice that, but it's very subtle. In order to do that, I'd need to bring the camera even closer in. So that as we move across the screen, you see it more. Very hard. I suppose I could have platform elements of this, like an elevator you could go up. Something you could like use to get up like at another level. Maybe a way for you to run along these banners. That could be fun. So you end up here, interacting. I do have like a wall run where you catch fire and you run across a wall. Did you opt out of parallax effect? No, I just showed you guys the parallax. It's just that the art for this scene is limited, so I can't move the camera beyond a certain point. Although maybe I could move it further than it currently is. That's okay. Yeah, if I bring this all the way over to here, then I might be able to do a bit more parallaxy stuff. Yeah, it's so subtle though, because again, I can't, and also I'm using a version of parallax here that's like one that I like, but that people don't seem to like very much, which is that I'm making it seem as though the camera's stuck and the camera's pivoting rather than moving with us. Yeah, well, this is the thing. Like, my whole point is every time I want to add layers of detail to a scene like this, I'm forced to do it within the context of I can't block the y-axis. So let me show you. Like the play layer needs to be pretty much here. This is all needs to be, basically Armin needs to be able to run around here and it doesn't block anything. If I was going to have a layer of NPCs in the front, they would need to be here, which is below the camera right now. Then I want to clear this space for background. So I want you to be able to, I mean, maybe I'll have NPCs here and whatever in the background layer. So like, NPC/environment. This is play. This is foreground. If I'm going to have another play layer, it could be, you know, maybe here or something like that. Like second story. And then I don't know how I would get the camera up this far. But can you see how, like, if you don't abide by these blocking rules, things start to overlap each other and it becomes difficult to actually interact, like to do anything interesting in the scene. Like for example, if I lower the angle of the camera so that it's more like it is in this scene, player stands, you know, wherever he stands, and now we're standing in front of the fountain. You know, imagine having all the NPCs and the fountain and the player all in that one eye line, right? This would overlap this, and this would overlap that. That's kind of where I was before. So I have to kind of like raise the camera angle in order to separate those things on the ground. But I also want to create this effect where if the horizon is, let's just say the horizon's here, maybe I make the horizon here. But the point is, I would need to I still want us to see underneath this, because that is, that's what makes this city look big. Being able to see the underside of things, like this edge right here and under here. Like we're looking up at a big world, but we're above Armin down below. So that's quite a demanding shot. And the only way to, I think, do that is to like change the focal length of the camera or the lens angle. Like maybe we bring this forward and make it bigger in the kind of from the camera's perspective. So we flatten things like that. But isn't this what you're doing on the first village? Huh? I don't know what you mean by that. What do you mean by this? And it worked. No, the first village is a straight line. And there's only like 1 or 2 people. This is like not even close to the amount. Like all of these people back here, that doesn't exist in the first chapter. In the first chapter, everything is right. It's right there. So I don't have to worry about it. See? Like the buildings are right next to the player. There's no square in the depth. There's no like town square. So I'm trying to create the sense of this being a space where lots and lots and lots of people can gather. All of this I want to show. That's not in chapter 1. So because in chapter 1, the buildings are right here and you can walk straight into them, there's no reason for this space here, it's basically just a footpath, to be visible. Whereas in this scene, because the buildings are back here and along the side, and all of the people are here, this and this is the difference. If I flattened it to look like this, then it would look like how it originally used to look, which is, check this out. I think I've still got it somewhere. I'm just going to click through them until I see what I want. Yeah. You still look like this. Very different again, right? The whole town, just one big straight line. And the parallax is gorgeous. I love it. But it means that it's very hard to make it feel big as a city. We can make it feel like there's a lot of depth because we're seeing the tops of the rooftops. Right? It looks like there's a lot of buildings all the way back there. But it doesn't feel like there's a lot of height. And it doesn't feel like there's like it's cramped at all. It feels like it's quite spacious, you know, down this main strip. Well, but the thing, I don't want to explain this because I've kind of already done it. I'm not asking for suggestions in this moment. I'm sort of just explaining how we've got to where we are. There are scenes like this one that I like quite a lot, and I'll show you. You'll understand why I like them in a second. This one here, notice how, because of the foreground, it looks a lot more like we are seeing the player from like across the street, right? It's like we are in an alley looking at the player. So there's a sense that like the city is huge because there's like, we can imagine, well, we're inside of a building looking at him, and then there's this building here, and then there's more streets behind. So it's much more like cramped, which for a city is kind of what you want to feel. This is another one that, or I thought I was doing a decent job of it, although the camera's all gone wonky since I was working on it. Yeah. I don't know why this is doing that. Like seeing this door right in the foreground, you know, it's not, this isn't perfect, but you understand what I'm trying to, why is that item name showing up like that? You know, like you can pull in the player's sense of vision if you do this right. So, options. I still really like this. You know, this is still fun. It's just a different kind of thing. Maybe we go somewhere in the middle. I also don't like that this is all brown. And there's a real challenge here. Transparency to foreground objects. No, it doesn't work in this context. The struggle here is more to do, I think, with we got to go somewhere in the middle. We have to go between like, because what I love about this is that the buildings are actually quite small. Like you can imagine these are quite like to scale. Like you'd walk in here, you go up a little set of stairs, and then you're up there, and that's where they live. You know, it's very doll-like. And I really like that about this concept. I think we lost it along the way in some of the bigger concepts. It's sort of, it doesn't feel quite as good seeing the buildings be so big. So instead, like, I mean, these are the same buildings. Like that's the same one there. I think we just need to be more, like, what's the word? I need to have more command over the framing and the blocking of the level. I need to just do a better job. Use every pixel in the frame. So let's see what we can do here. That's not right. Another thing is the color. So like this city, I've had a lot of struggle with it because it's supposed to feel, it's in the middle. It's like surrounded by forest, but it has cleared out, you know, they've kind of excavated and destroyed everything, and they've built a big palisade wall out of the trees they used to destroy this place, or to build this place. And so it should have this sense of like there's green between the gray and brown, which I don't capture at all in the current versions. So there's that too. Like a struggle, I guess. Minish Cap. Yeah, it is a good looking game. I think this depth did not serve me very well. Trying to do depth like this. I think better to keep it much more like, maybe like this. I'm not even sure, like, it's so tough. Even, like, think about it now. Like, what does this black represent? You know? Because there's like a street here, and then a cross section of the street, and then it's almost like I've taken a street from like a modern street, right? Here's the street. This is like the paint markings. Here's one footpath, here's the other footpath. And we are sitting in a building here. This is where the camera's sitting. Looking out. But I've literally excavated the entire street here. That's currently what it looks like. This is like a hard edge. And then we've got the footpath that comes up from the street. And then this is all just the road, the gravel. That's currently what I'm doing, which looks weird because why do we see this cross section? So I think it's a question of, do I want to put anything here? Do I want to put people there? Do I want to, what's the goal? If I keep it the way that it is in Orenstead, then everything goes flat again. And I just do, you know, this sort of fading to black thing. But the problem I have with Orenstead is that it really has this sense of like, we don't know how far away we are. I keep it so close to I keep the play layer so close to the bottom of the screen that we're not really invited to think about there being a foreground plane at all. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think I want to do better than that. So anyway. And it changes based on what you can see. You know, the more you can pull in, the more, you know, you kind of, I do like the idea of keeping this like small buildings in the way, doing like this. And then as we go back, we see more of the top sides of these buildings. The underside, sorry. I'm just trying to think about the perspective that I want. I am still drawing the same camera angle as before. This isn't for the main street. This is for the side streets. Feels like you're drawing. Yeah, I am. On purpose. Well, to be fair, I did describe like 5 different things I was trying to do, so don't worry about it. I can't extend this all the way forward you know, even do that, because then I have to do this. Like, and it becomes very hard. I mean, the depth looks really wide there. I think it's mostly right in the side streets. Like, this is mostly fine. I'll recolor all these buildings. Yeah, I don't want to do the like mode 7 thing. I think also there's the aspect of like, where is the palisade? There's supposed to be a back wall of palisades that kind of like encompass everything. And there's an aspect where like, I kind of want it to feel like it's really big. Which would mean, yeah, doing something like this. But I also sort of want to see it. You know, this is going to come. Way up there. But again, in this context, you can't see it at all. Maybe it's time to start just thinking about the colors I want to paint into the scene. I'll be back in a bit. Alrighty. Time for my usual snack. Every day. No breaks. No. This is yogurt. Don't you watch this stream? Don't worry about it. A bit of pud. What do you think? This is Auntie Donna? All right. All right. I think it's time we don't do this in pixel art. I think instead I want to do it here. I'll just find a spot and just drop some colors down, won't I? Okay. Like that. So from here, I'm standing like that. And maybe the goal here is to show something like you want to see buildings kind of like fade off, so you can see that perspective, you know? You see the depth, because what you really want to see is the palisades and then a big drop and then a building. I think that is going to be the thing that really sets off the perspective here. Like just that is really compelling to me. Even if, you know, we have like a larger building in the foreground that's kind of obscuring this, and you have, it's got like a roof or whatever. And I suppose with some of the earlier buildings, the earlier scenes on the left-hand side, you would have them like this, the palisades. Which is more or less like where we're at. If I go to like this scene here, the only difference is just the palisades there going flat rather than coming up to the gate. But I actually have the gate coming up here. So maybe if I just do it right. Dying from this. Yeah, there's something about this where like I feel like I'm wasting so much potential. Because of where the camera line is. If this was here, I feel like we just get so much more out of it. So now we just have to somehow, I mean, you could just move some of this stuff. Although I can't do it right now. Yeah, I think my problem is that I was too, what's the word? I'm treating them all just like assets and I'm just trying to kit bash the whole thing together. And it's the effect is not going to sell like that. I also feel like I want to pull the camera, but I want to somehow pull the camera towards us. Like, is it the size of the camera? If I bring it down at 1.35. Shush you. And then bring that zone camera down. Yeah, I think this would be fine if we had the structure of the background much better proportioned. You know, maybe we take these two and we like sort of shift them over there. You know? And then have some buildings further off in the background and that kind of thing. I think it's just that the background doesn't have any like, we're not drawing any structure. Also, like maybe this comes down like to there. It's hard. Hello, Indie Dev Casts. Yeah, like we sort of lose the height of those faraway buildings. Hey, Skepti, thank you so much for the sub. Also, this angle's not right either. Like, that would be flatter. And the sky is, like, not even... That's not bad. I still want to see some of that height. But like that's kind of cool there, isn't it? Being able to see like some, do you know what I mean? Some of it, but not all of it. Maybe like that, like we just see. Oh, that's pretty cool there. Just a sliver of the sky. You can't really see it well here, but if I show it to you like this, it's better. You know, just a little bit. That's pretty cool. And I think there probably should be a way to get to the rooftops. As just like a... It's just good practice to do that. I also think that there is a layer of like atmosphere that I think we've got in here, but I don't think it's doing its job. Hey, Kratesh, thank you so much for the sub. Welcome back. That's probably too deep. So maybe we do go as far as just letting the ground come towards us. You can't see it here, but you can see it sort of here. Maybe that just works better. And then we just litter the foreground with stuff. Could even do something like this. Have the buildings not be all straight and flat. And if we go back out to 1.8, what do we get? Yeah, It's very different, isn't it? Okay. Do you have a video on use of outlines? I do not have a video on use of outlines. Maybe I should. And then even this building here. I mean, even if I just get rid of it altogether. It's so different. These sentiments about like the depth of the scene change so drastically. If I move or shift them just a little bit. You know, I take this building here and I move it over, suddenly it's so different again. All right. Well, I'm also not convinced that like it's going to make much of a difference. Whatever I do. I mean, that does feel so different to what I was just looking at. So maybe it is just about how I use the assets. Like that, I like this. I like how it feels. Let's use some colors here. Now, chat, I have to go soon because I'm going to a symphony. Yeah, dude. I almost want this to be like a vertical portrait. This scene. I'm going to an Elden Ring symphony after this. And I have to leave in like an hour and a bit. Less. I have to leave in less than an hour. I like this idea of it getting dark down in the bottom of the streets. I think that's really important too. This contrast is super important. now. Okay. Hmm. Probably too, what's the word? Too warm, do you think? Oh, once I did that, it's changed it. That's pretty good. Hey, Chuck, congrats. Possibly. Depends on where the sun is. And the problem is I'm never going to be able to show you the tree. Like I'm just never going to have the opportunity to look up this far unless I move the camera up in a cutscene. Oops. I understand what you mean. I just don't really know how I want it like to feel like it's lit. Do you know what I mean by that? Like there's an emotional aspect to lighting that you can use. You know, to convey one thing or another. And I don't want it to feel so photo accurate per se. I'm trying to make it, there's a kind of feeling that I want to have, which is it's a tough one because it's not necessarily positive or negative. It's kind of like it's impressive, right? Like this place is impressive. So you can't just look at it and say, this place sucks. They've destroyed all of the trees and they've overrun it with whatever. You can't just say that because it's quite a marvel. So in a way, I want it to feel almost just a bit overwhelming in how busy it is. I think if I combine where I started with where I'm at now, I think I have something pretty good. I think these colors are shaping up pretty good. The depth is good. It's mostly about balancing the green and the brown, I think, with the blue. But I think tone-wise, it's pretty good here. These buildings are like, you know, brick and stucco for the most part. The problem is, as much as I love this composition, we're going to be looking mostly like this. That's about as much as we're going to get in this scene, which is okay. I just have to be okay with it. I suppose it would be flatter than that. Maybe just keep it flat. Who says I am gay? Yeah, maybe on the first scene load we pan. That's probably the way we'll do it. Oh, wow. Yeah, imagine like going up like that far. Oh, that's pretty. Sometimes I I really think about my development on this game as like watching, you know, like I'm watching the game develop, and there are periods of time, you know, months, even years sometimes, where I won't have spent any time on a particular area. And I think about, it's almost like I'm waiting for the next episode of a TV show to happen. Like, when's the next time I'm going to render this world, this scene, so I can look at it again and experience it again? Like, this feels like I'm witnessing something. I'm not like drawing it. And until it is drawn, I feel like I'm waiting to see it, you know? Like, I'm not actually seeing it. I don't know that I ever will see it until I see it, if that makes sense. I'm kind of like, will there ever be another drawing? You know? Will there ever be another one? And then I'm drawing it. I'm like, oh, wow. A new drawing. For the first time, I get to see this again. It's been ages. I imagine that's probably what you guys think. Yeah, I mean, like this inspiration stuff, like it's not even like, I don't even have like it's almost like I don't have a say in the matter. Like it's happening. Don't screw it up, you know? Oh, here it is. A new drawing. Quick, before it goes away. Clinkers, wow, okay. Let's get you a clinker. And it's time to do another clinker. What color will it be? Green. Sorry, Robin. Now, there was a point where I was considering having this be overcast. So what happens if I say edit, adjust, hue saturation, and I just cull the saturation out of this? Well, I don't get the blue atmosphere. Oh. Yeah, there has to be this height. This height has to be there from here. This aspect of like even these buildings maybe. I'll stop. I mean, that's just horrible. What am I doing? Where is the... Is there a zone camera? That's better. It's kind of like you would... Like, this scene should be in portrait. That's kind of the feeling. Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. That's literally the point. It's kind of supposed to be like, you know, 18th century London in a way. And I mean, maybe because it's like industrious, but in the shadow of a giant tree. It's the tree that I think it's hard to, if I make it so that they've killed the tree, you know, I feel like that would be a louder statement, and then everything would just be brown, you know. Anyway, I have to go. I can't be here any longer because I got to go be at the station by 5, and I got to have a shower and stuff. So, chat, it was a pleasure. We will return back to this space. Dreary, cheery, we'll figure it out. Okay, did I do anything? This can just go away. I didn't do that. Close that, delete this, get rid of that. Oh. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of boring. All right. Thanks, everyone. Make sure you wishlist Insignia if you haven't already. And you can sign up for the beta test that we're doing on this demo. New build coming out next week, hopefully. Alrighty, thank you so much. As always, I've been Adam, you've been the Pixel Pals. This has been the Indie Tales Game Dev live stream. Until next time.